Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé latest news. On November 18, 2025, Jasmine Pineda and Matt Branis, two of the most popular stars of 90 Day Fiancé, had to deal with every parent's worst dread. Matilda, their only daughter, got very sick and had to be taken to the hospital right away. It started with a whisper, a cough at night, a low fever, and a mother's gut feeling. Jasmine Pineda had always been in tune with her daughter's rhythms. Matilda was a lively child who was about 1 year old. Her eyes gleamed like her mother's, and her laugh rang through their house like music. But things changed on the night of November 16th. "She's not herself," Jasmine said softly to Matt as she held Matilda in her arms. The baby's forehead was warm, and she was breathing shallowly. Matt, who was always steady, put his hand lightly on Matilda's chest. "Let's keep an eye on her," he murmured, attempting to sound cool. But concern grew behind his words. Matilda's health had gotten worse by morning. Her cough wouldn't go away, and her screams were faint. Jasmine didn't think twice. She wrapped her daughter in a nice blanket, kissed her forehead, and said, "We're going to get help, baby." Matt grabbed the keys to the car, and the family raced to the hospital. There were a lot of white jackets, beeping monitors, and people in a hurry in the emergency department. The nurses moved quickly, putting on oxygen tubes, checking vital signs, and extracting blood. Jasmine stood there, holding Matilda's pet bunny, which was wet with tears. Matt walked up and down the hall, his phone vibrating with worried texts from family and friends. Doctors wrote down symptoms including fever, cold, cough, and shortness of breath, and then started a series of tests. Jasmine and Matt sat quietly, holding hands, and watched Matilda's chest rise and fall beneath the bright lights of the hospital. One doctor said softly, "She's very sick. But we're doing everything we can." The diagnosis didn't come right away. Doctors ruled out other respiratory illnesses, including as pneumonia and RSV. They gave her drinks, checked her oxygen levels, and kept a tight eye on Matilda. Jasmine was almost always with her daughter. She sung lullabies, caressed her hair, and told her stories of love and strength. Matt became the one who talked to people. He kept the family up to date, worked with the physicians, and made sure Jasmine had time to recover. He added of Jasmine, "She's stronger than she knows," as he watched her sing lullabies and stroke Matilda's hair. Word got out immediately that Matilda had to go to the hospital. Jasmine, who is known for being honest on Instagram, shared a picture of Matilda in her hospital bed. The picture, which was sad and sweet, showed the infant with tubes and monitors with her eyes closed from being so tired. Fans sent a lot of love back. There were a lot of comments, such praying for Matilda, "Stay strong, Jasmine and Matt," and "She's a fighter." Media sites picked up the story, which made the worry even bigger. 90 Day Fiancé star's daughter in the hospital, and Jasmine Pineda's baby fights illness, were two of the headlines. The pair was overwhelmed, but the support helped them feel better. In a follow-up post, Jasmine added, "We feel your prayers." You could see she was grateful even via the computer. The hospital room turned into a place of love and terror. Jasmine and Matt, whose love story had enthralled millions, were now facing the harsh reality of being parents in a crisis. Their friendship, which had been tested by both good and bad times on screen, was now tested in the most personal way. Jasmine, who had earlier dealt with the difficulties of immigration and blended families, was now dealing with the raw vulnerability of being a mother in crisis. Matt, who was always the rock, stayed calm, but the cracks were there. He quietly broke down in the corridor, his shoulders quivering as he said, "She's our whole world." A doctor came into the room on the night of November 18th with a kind grin. He said, "Don't be afraid. She will get better, but it will take time." Jasmine let out a breath, and tears flowed down her face. Matt held her hand tightly. It wasn't a miracle, but it was a sign of optimism. The pair stayed alert. They took turns sleeping, but they never left Matilda's side. The hospital staff, touched by their dedication, quietly cheered them on. One nurse observed, "She's lucky to have you both," as she fixed Matilda's fore. They found strength in the quiet times, when the monitors beeped and people prayed in low voices. They met up. A community came together outside the hospital. Fans lighted candles, prayed together, and sent messages of hope. There was a lot of love in Jasmine's inbox. One message said, "We're with you. Matilda is in our hearts." The pair felt the warmth, even though they were tired. Jasmine wrote, "Thank you. Your love is everything." Matilda's health got better in the days that followed. The fever went down, the cough got better, and her breathing became steadier. Jasmine and Matt stayed with her, their devotion never wavered. They didn't talk about what would happen next. They paid attention to the present. Matilda's chest rising and falling gently, her hands tender clasp, and the quiet power of a family that was together. On November 18th, as the sun went down, Jasmine sat next to Matilda's bed and hummed a lullaby. Matt stood by the window and watched the lights of the city blink. At that moment, they were not stars of reality TV. They were moms and dads. They were fighters. They were in love. And they found hope in their daughter's heartbeat. When the sun set on November 18th, the hospital room was filled with a gentle amber light. Jasmine sat next to Matilda's bed and hummed a lullaby in a soft, beautiful manner. Matt stood by the window with his arms folded, watching the lights of the city blink like stars in the distance. The room was quiet save for the steady beeping of the monitors and the soft voices of nurses walking by in the hall. Matilda's breathing had become better, but her body was still weak. The oxygen tube was under her nose, and her little chest was rising and falling with struggle. Jasmine leaned in and moved a strand of hair away from her daughter's forehead. She whispered, "You're doing so well, baby. Mommy's right here." Matt moved away from the window and stepped over to Jasmine, putting a hand on her shoulder. "She's fighting," he remarked quietly. "Just like you." Jasmine didn't answer right away. She looked at Matilda's eyes, looking for signs of strength, recovery, and the spark that had always been there in her daughter. Finally, she remarked, "I can't stop thinking about her laugh. The way she laughs when you make that silly face. I just want to hear it again." Matt nodded, but his throat was tight. "We will," he responded, but the words sounded more like a prayer than a guarantee. The hours went by slowly. Nurses came and went, checking vital signs, changing IVs, and giving calm reassurances. Jasmine and Matt stayed where they were, their world limited to the hospital room. Life went on outside, cars honked, phones rang, and people laughed, but inside time stood still. Jasmine went outside at one point to stretch her legs. The hallway was clean and quiet, with closed doors and little lighting. She walked slowly since she was thinking a lot. A nurse came over and smiled softly. The nurse said, "She's stable. You're doing everything right." Jasmine nodded and her eyes filled with tears. I didn't see this coming. Not right away. She's very small." The nurse put a hand on her arm to calm her. "Kids are stronger than we give them credit for. And she has you." Matt had moved a chair close to Matilda's bed when he got back to the room. He was reading a children's book in a soothing voice, and every now and then he would look up to see how she was doing. Jasmine came back and sat next to him, putting her head on his shoulder. For a long they didn't talk. Words didn't seem necessary. It was enough that they were there and quiet together. Jasmine posted again on Instagram later that night. A picture of Matilda's hand around her finger with the words "Still fighting" written on it. "Still loved all around. Thank you for your prayers." The answer came right away. There were thousands of comments, all of them full of optimism, support, and solidarity. One admirer added, "She's a warrior like her mama." Another said, "We're lighting candles for Matilda tonight." The support was amazing, a digital hug from strangers who had come to love this family through stories and screens. Matt's eyes filled with tears as he read the remarks. He said, "They really care. It's not just the show. They care about us." Jasmine grinned a little. "Isn't it strange? How people we don't know can feel so near." The morning of November 19th was peaceful. Matilda moved a little, and her fingers twitched. Jasmine leaned nearer, her heart thumping. "Matt," she said softly. She moved. In a few seconds, Matt was by her side. They both saw Matilda's eyes open and close quickly. It was a simple thing, but it was huge. A symbol of life. A sign of coming back. The doctor came soon after and looked over Matilda's paperwork and checked her vitals. He said, "She's getting better. Slowly but surely. Her lungs are working well. We will keep an eye on things, but this is a good sign." Jasmine let out a breath, feeling better. Matt held her firmly and buried his face in her shoulder. He said, "She's coming back to us." The day went on with cautious hope. Jasmine read stories out loud. Matt played quiet music on his phone, and Matilda stayed calm. Nurses said she was strong and pointed out the small changes in her respiration and alertness. Jasmine's mother in Panama sent her a video message in the afternoon. It was a little video of her mother holding a candle, speaking Spanish, and praying for Matilda's health. Jasmine cried as she watched it twice. "She's praying for her granddaughter," she said. "She hasn't even met her." Matt put his arms around Jasmine. He responded, "She will. She will." When nighttime came, Jasmine and Matt took turns going outside for some fresh air. Jasmine strolled to the tiny garden at the hospital, where a few benches were under a tree canopy. She sat still and watched the leaves move in the wind. A woman nearby saw her and walked up to her slowly. "Is this Jasmine?" she asked. Jasmine nodded, shocked. The woman said, "I follow you on Instagram. I just wanted to say that I'm praying for your daughter. I also have a small one. I can't even begin to imagine what you're going through." Jasmine smiled and was moved. "Thanks," she said. "It means more than you know." Matt had fallen asleep on the chair, with his hand on Matilda's blanket. Jasmine came back and sat next to him, watching her family, her whole world, wrapped in peaceful power. Jasmine wrote in her journal that night. It had been weeks since she had done it, yet the words came readily now. Matilda opened her eyes today. Only for a moment, but that was enough. It was enough to remind me that hope is genuine, that love is more powerful than fear, that we are not by ourselves. She put the journal down and closed it. Then she lay down next to Matilda, her hand resting softly on her daughter's chest, feeling the beat of life. The hospital room was black, but there was a lot of light in it. And at that moment, Jasmine knew they would make it. They would become better. They would get up. The night of November 19th was broken up by light footsteps in the corridor, the sound of machines, and the sound of blankets rustling as Jasmine moved Matilda around. She hadn't slept more than an hour at a time, and her body hurt, but her intellect was sharp. Every sound and every change in Matilda's breathing brought her back to full awareness. Matt had the early morning shift. He sat next to the crib with a cup of lukewarm coffee and a notebook on his lap. He wasn't writing anything. He was just holding it, as if having something to do may help him stay grounded. He was watching Matilda closely, taking in the small movements of her fingers and the way her eyelids fluttered as she slept. He added gently, "She's stronger today," when Jasmine moved. "Her oxygen levels are staying the same." Jasmine nodded and rubbed her eyes. "I can't stop thinking about when she opened her eyes yesterday. It felt like the world had gone back to normal." Matt reached out to her hand. "We're going to get through this." The hospital personnel had started to see them as more than just the parents of patients. Nurses greeted them with kind grins, and doctors gave them updates with sincerity. One nurse, Elena, was really interested in Matilda. She got a little plush elephant from the pediatric supply cupboard and put it next to Matilda's bunny. Elena said, "She needs a friend. And you two need to remember that she is getting a lot of love." Jasmine smiled because the gesture moved her. "Thanks. It means a lot." During the day, Jasmine and Matt took turns going for short walks. The hospital garden had become a safe place to breathe, grieve, and get stronger. Jasmine sat under a tree and watched the leaves sway in the wind. She thought about the life they had made together, the path they had taken from reality TV to becoming real parents, and the surprises that had brought them here. She thought back to the first time she held Matilda and how her daughter's little fingers wrapped around hers. She felt a rush of love and terror. "I belong to you," she had said. "Forever." That vow now seemed more important than ever. Matt was talking to the doctor inside. The test results were in. Matilda's infection was viral, aggressive, and not unusual in babies. It was evident what the treatment approach was: give fluids, oxygen, and watch. No surgery or other intrusive procedures. All you need is time, care, and patience. The doctor said, "She's doing well. We're cautiously hopeful." Matt told Jasmine the news, and she let out a big sigh. She said again, cautiously optimistic. "I'll take it." They read to Matilda all afternoon. Jasmine picked up a book of fairy tales. Her voice was quiet and sweet. Matt played lullabies from his phone, and the soft music made the room feel comfortable. Matilda moved about a little, her fingers twitching and her breathing steady. At one point, Jasmine bent down and kissed her daughter on the forehead. She whispered, "You're doing so well, baby. We're very proud of you." Matt's heart was full as he watched them. He reminisced of the times they had spent together as a family, like the late-night feedings, the first chuckle, and how Matilda's face lit up when Jasmine sang. He merely thought about the future for a short time. For the time being, the present was enough. Jasmine posted again that night, a picture showing Matilda's hand around the plush elephant with the words, "Still here. Still going at it. We thank you for keeping us in your hearts." The answer was too much. People from all around the world sent them messages, fans, other parents, and even strangers who had been moved by their story. "Your strength is inspiring," said one person. Another said, "We're lighting candles in our house tonight. We're praying for her." Jasmine read each note with tears running down her face. "They care," she said, Matt. "They really do care." Matt nodded his head. "She has made a difference in more lives than we will ever know." Jasmine sat by the window later that night and watched the lights of the city. She thought about how fragile life is and how quickly things can change. She thought about how strong it was to stay present and cling on to optimism even when she was scared. She opened her journal and wrote, "Today I saw her fingers wrap around the elephant. I noticed her chest rise and fall in time with the music. For the first time in days I saw Matt grin. These are the times I remember. These are the things that bring light to the dark." She put the journal away and went back to Matilda. Matt was sleeping in the recliner with his hand on the crib. Jasmine lay next to her daughter with her palms softly on Matilda's chest. It was calm in the chamber with soft noises of healing. And in that quiet, Jasmine felt something change, not in Matilda's health but in herself. A strong, unchanging will. A belief that they will last. That love would get them through. The morning of November 20th started with a surprise. Matilda opened her eyes and kept them that way. She looked around and saw Jasmine, then Matt. Her lips opened a little, as if she were attempting to say something. Jasmine gasped, "Hey, Matt." Matt ran over, and his face lit up. "Hi, baby," he said, his voice shaking. "Hey, sweet girl." Matilda blinked slowly, and then reached for Jasmine's finger. It was a modest shift, but it felt huge. "She's awake," Jasmine said in a whisper. "She's really awake." The doctor came soon after and smiled as he looked at Matilda. He remarked, "This is great progress. She's awake and aware. We'll keep an eye on things, but this is a really promising sign." Jasmine and Matt hugged each other tightly, full of emotion. Jasmine said, "Thank you. Thanks for everything." The rest of the day was filled with careful happiness. Matilda stayed awake for greater periods of time. Her eyes followed movement, and her grip got stronger. Jasmine sang to her, while Matt read her stories. The room felt lighter. Nurses came by to celebrate the big day. Elena brought a little balloon and attached it to the crib. "She's a fighter," she remarked. "Just like her mom and dad." Jasmine smiled, her heart full. "We're just doing what she says." That night, Jasmine put up a video of Matilda blinking and reaching for her rabbit. The caption said, "She's awake. She is here. Thanks for having faith in her." The answer came right away. A lot of likes, comments, and shares. Messages of happiness, relief, and celebration. One fan said, "I cried while watching this." "She's a miracle," one person said. "This is the best news I've heard all week." Jasmine read the remarks out loud to Matt, and they both laughed and cried. Matt added, "She has a whole world behind her." Jasmine nodded. "And she's showing them what it means to be strong." As the night went on, Jasmine and Matt sat together and watched Matilda sleep. Her breathing was calm, and her body felt at ease. The monitors made a soothing beeping sound, like a lullaby for healing. Jasmine put her head on Matt's shoulder. She said, "We're going to be okay." Matt kissed her on the forehead. "We're already there." Jasmine and Matt found tranquility in that peaceful room, where they were surrounded by love, hope, and their daughter's heartbeat. They had journeyed through dread, held each other through doubt, and come out into the light. Matilda was getting better. And they were too. This gossip is over. If you liked the video, then give your opinion in the comment box and stay with us by subscribing the channel. Thank you.